The UK is finally introducing its new porn regulation laws, meaning you're going to have to verify your identity before viewing online adult material. The UK is introducing new legislation surrounding online adult material, obviously talking about porn here, and it's thought that it's going to come into effect in April. The date isn't set, but everyone's thinking it's going to be around April 1st. Funny that it's happening on April 1st, because it's definitely not a joke. And the new legislation will require everybody to confirm and verify their age before they view online adult material. And it's a story that I've been following for a while now, actually. Specifically, I've been considering whether this policy is actually effective in what it's meant to do, which is protect children. But let's start from the beginning. The government's been working on new laws that are designed to protect children. That's been going on for quite a while now. Specifically, they're focusing on online adult material under the 2017 Digital Economy Act. It's been delayed many times, but it's now expected to come into force within a matter of a month or so. And that means that websites that have more than 1/3 of their content being pornographic will have to verify the age of the person accessing it, meaning when you go on the page, you'll get a little login thing that asks you to verify through a number of means. And the clause here, by the way, with the more than 1/3 of content is designed to stop websites like Twitter and Tumblr from having to introduce landing pages, because those are the kind of social media sites where pornography isn't actually explicitly banned, although maybe Tumblr has taken a different direction on that recently, but Twitter certainly hasn't. The plans have been put in place by the BBFC, if you didn't know, the British Board of Film Classification. They were appointed by the government to be the regulator involved with this age ID system, and they've tossed around a load of ideas over the years about how to confirm your identity and prove your age, and they've settled with something called Age ID. Age ID is a system that verifies your age using your credit card, SMS text message, a passport, or a driving license, and then it gives you a username and a password that you can use whenever you like, whenever you go on these online adult content sites, effectively meaning that all your actions, anything you do behind that wall of your username and password, is essentially going to be tracked by the government, because the government already stores your internet history, and now they could easily monitor what kind of pornography you're watching. So that brings me to my first point about why this is dangerous. This is immediately going to become a focus for hackers, if it isn't already. You see, the moment Age ID is put into place, then these hackers, who really know what they're doing, they're going to be looking for high-profile people, politicians, singers, pop stars, basically anybody in a position of power. And if they registered with their driving license or their passport, then they're easy targets, because high-profile figures could then essentially be blackmailed by hackers who have accessed this data, or indeed the viewing data of everybody who's registered with Age ID using their driving license and passport could be leaked by malicious online users. There's a very real possibility of that, and can you imagine the chaos it would create if all this data was released? There'd be mass divorces all over the country, breakups all over the country, Parliament would descend into total and utter chaos, more so than usual, given just how much porn they seem to be accessing within the Parliament buildings themselves. This could literally ruin lives, and what, all in the name of protecting kids? I'm not so sure, because I don't think it's an effective method of protecting children. Now let's assume that the BBFC is able to keep up with all this, and let's assume they're able to handle the pressure of this entire project, which means they're going to have to issue fines to companies that somehow aren't effectively able to verify everybody's identity. The minute a 16-year-old gets their hands on some kind of pornography, there's going to be fines handed out everywhere. But let's assume that the BBFC can keep up with this. Let's ask, will this thing actually work? Will it achieve what the government's trying to achieve, which is to protect children? Well, I think it's pretty clear that 16 and 17-year-olds are still going to find ways to access porn. They're pretty tricky, these 16 and 17-year-olds, when it comes to stuff like this. And, they might use virtual proxy networks where they redirect their connection to an American system, so it's not prompted to verify their age. They might go deep web browsing on Tor, which is dangerous in itself, definitely more dangerous than going on the normal internet. Or they might just buy one of those Age ID cards that we're going to be able to buy from the news agents through a third-party seller or something like that. Kids are going to access pornography. It's just a fact at this point. And a 2011 EU Kids online study also found that children are still accessing sexual content offline. It still happens, quite obviously. So how exactly is this new measure to stop them viewing it on the internet actually going to protect kids? Because there's still nudie mags available in the shops. There's still the 900 channels on Sky. Probably remember those from being a teenager. ITV still shows boobs on the television. And let me tell you, Emmerdale can get pretty raunchy sometimes. So kids are always going to access porn, which leads to the obvious conclusion that the only way to stop children from accessing porn is being a good parent. If you don't want your kids to access porn, then for God's sake, don't give your kid an iPhone. Don't give your kid a smartphone with access to the internet. Get them a dumb phone, one of those old style Nokia things. I survived with one. I did perfectly well, and so will they. And let them use the internet, but let them use it monitored. I mean, in a non-private part of the house. Do what our parents used to do and put the computer in the hallway or something, so that they're never alone with the internet. And for God's sake, just install software on the computer that blocks boobs. It can be done. And talk to your kids about these issues, by the way. That's another part of this. You have to talk to your kids about these issues. I was brought up to respect women. I know how it works. I know how children should be taught, spoken to about these issues. I'm not a parent myself yet, but it worked on me. It worked on me. You've got to talk about these issues to your kids, and you can't let them just stumble across porn when they don't understand sex. You've got to be an understanding and responsible parent, and you can offset all the problems that the government's trying to solve with this mental piece of legislation. Just because everyone else has an iPhone and Snapchat doesn't mean that your child should have an iPhone and Snapchat. The very fact that parents are ignoring this basic logic, basic parenting skills is the reason why the government is implementing this utter madness in the first place. Mark my words, hackers will use this to their advantage. Hackers will be accessing your porn browsing habits, and people are going to be blackmailed over it, and the government's going to be responsible. If you like that and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to click that little bell button to make sure you never miss another Rebel video ever again.